Chapter 3 Life downhill again. When we got back home, the first thing we saw was my parents, at my aunt's house, standing by my car. It had a for sale sign on it. My mom was taking pictures, while my dad was on the phone with I assumed to be buyers. Aunt Joan and I immediately jumped out, adrenaline taking over both of our tired bodies. We had so many questions and no patience to deal with this right now. My mother tried to intercept us, saying it's not that serious, but neither Aunt Joan nor I were listening to anything she had to say, as we were too focused on getting them away from the car. My aunt took the phone from my dad and hung up with the potential buyer while I called the police. My mom started yelling about how they needed the money. My dad, getting visibly angry, started walking toward me and my aunt while calling me ungrateful and saying we were selfish. At that moment, my aunt grabbed her pepper spray to defend us while I ran in the house. After she sprayed them, she ran in the house and waited for the police to show up. When the cops got there, my parents immediately acted like they were victims, telling officers how we attacked them while they were just trying to visit. My aunt provided video evidence of self-defense, plus the messages showing no contact, plus the fraud case that we didn't pursue. I was also able to find the post listing my car on Craigslist, while my aunt also provided the title that was still in her name, since she figured my parents would try to get something from me. Mom started this performative cry as soon as she saw it was no way to flip the script, while my dad also fed the guilt card saying I was being heartless. My aunt didn't bat an eye at them, instead turning to the police informing them she wanted trespassing procedures taken. My mom then started complaining about how they had nowhere to go. I was mad just because of the absurdity that they thought they could get money from my car while also getting a free stay at my aunt's house. My aunt stayed firm. She had the police escort them off the property and trespass them for good. After they left, we went back in the house and collapsed on the floor in front of the couch, neither of us having the energy to get up. The adrenaline had worn off and exhaustion kicked in from the past week. As we sat there, my aunt started crying. At first I was startled, then I hugged her and let my tears start flowing also. We sat like that for about an hour before both of us dozed off right there. When I woke up, my aunt was gone and I was somehow on the couch. I checked my phone and it was 2 a.m. I had 4 missed calls from Xander and 3 from Ashley. It was strange, but not as strange as all the DMs I had. I was still exhausted, so I chose to go shower and go back to sleep for a while. When I woke back up, instead of hearing my alarm, I heard knocking. I also had more missed calls from Xander and Ashley. I got up still half asleep and found both Xander and Ashley were frantically trying to talk over each other. I told them to calm down, but as soon as I thought they were going to settle down, Ashley grabbed me and pulled me into the bathroom and locked it. She asked me if I looked at my phone, which I hadn't since I've been busy. Then I heard Xander through the door yelling to not listen to her and saying it's not what I think. I then look through my messages and see a video of Xander grabbing Ashley while she's visibly drunk and trying to lead her to her room at some party. Someone was recording them and following behind. After they got in the room, he laid her down and tried to kiss on her, but Ashley was pushing him back. He proceeded to pin her arms to try again before the person who was recording bust in and got him off her. Another woman grabbed Ashley and got her out of there. The camera went black for a while, and when it was picked up again, Xander was knocked out while people crowded around him. After the video shut off, I got so angry that I grabbed the metal picture frame off the wall, opened the door, and hit him across the head with it. I then yelled at him to get out, while I also called the cops, but before I did, I asked Ashley if she wanted to report it. After a long moment, she finally looked up at me and shook her head yes. We sat on the couch while we called the police. I also called my aunt and told her what happened. 15 minutes later, my aunt was home standing beside Ashley as she talked to the police, as I sat on the porch thinking about everything that happened in the last 24 hours. I ended up going in my room and crying. I had to stop to call out of work stating an emergency. Afterwards, I continued to cry for hours. Ashley joined me first. I apologized to her, feeling it was somehow my fault since we never took things to the next level. She quickly shut down my efforts, saying it could never be my fault, and that it was his own stupid actions that landed us in these positions. He left so many voicemails about how he was sorry, and that he was drunk, and he would never do anything like that. After the cops showed up to his place, he switched to angry voicemails saying how I was destroying his life, and that it was a misunderstanding. He was locked up and held without bond for being a flight risk based of the voicemails I provided. I seen him once to officially break up. He went on to tell me how his two best friends won't talk to him, his job fired him, and his life was going to shits. I cut him off, stating harshly that everything that was happening was completely his fault and that no amount of apologizing could fix this, and that I hoped more damage was done to his life as he did to us. Before I left, I asked him what would he have done if that guy wasn't there, if he wasn't recording and they had no evidence of what he did, what was he going to do to her? He couldn't respond, and to be honest I didn't want to hear anything he had to say, knowing it was going to be bullshit. My aunt, Ashley, and I took the guy who recorded the video out to dinner as a gift. His name was Josh and he was a finance major. He said he went there to catch his girlfriend cheating, which he did, before realizing what was going on between Ashley and Xander. He was following him because he recognized them from campus and wondered where I was, and why they were alone. He said he knocked him out mostly in anger for being betrayed himself, but also because of history he had with Xander in freshman year. Apparently Xander was a douchebag freshman year, who would constantly make things hard for people at random. Those who he messed with had no connection. He stole a girlfriend from Josh, and then a week later he broke up with her, saying she was too clingy and he wanted to be more free. After he left her, she tried to go back to Josh, but of course he couldn't get past the fact she chose another man. He then got into boxing, stating how punching his anger, and that's how he so easily knocked Xander out. After dinner we took him back home, thanking him again. He told us if we ever wanted to hang out just as friends we could call him anytime. It was nice, and I was happy to have another friend, especially one that I feel safe around. We ended up hanging out after the first hearing a couple months later, going to the park and getting ice cream, then we headed back to his place. We talked about where he's from, which was South Carolina, and about how he grew up with 3 sisters. We also played Twister and Monopoly. We watched a horror movie to end off the night. It was the first time in a while I didn't see Ashley check the door in a while. We ended up becoming inseparable. Most hangout would be at Josh's apartment since he lived alone. Sometimes we would go to my house, mostly when my aunt would be working, or over a friend's house. We never went to Ashley's place since she lived with 3 other people. Aunt Joan offered her to come stay with us, but she refused since she would be taking her home office. A couple weeks later, Xander had his second trial where Josh testified. Instead of looking mad or defiant, he looked defeated and small, like jail was keeping him up at night. None of us felt remorse for him since he was getting what he deserved. The judge asked Josh about Xander's character since finding out they previously met. Josh didn't hold back, telling the judge everything he could remember from freshman year. After the judge heard him out, he let Josh go sit down. That's when my eyes locked with Xander's. I saw the hurt and regret in his eyes, and I'm sure he saw the disgust in mine. I would be lying if I said I don't still hate him, but it's not even hate anymore, just a solid indifference. He ended up getting 5 years, which wasn't enough, but we couldn't do anything about it. After the final hearing we went back to Josh's house. For a while we sat in silence, just decompressing from the last couple months. Josh ended up saying he needed a shower and left to do so. I asked Ashley was she ready to go, but she ended up wanting to stay and wait to talk to Josh. I found out that their conversation was about how they felt about each other, and they ended up dating shortly after that night. The trials took some time, but afterwards we settled back into our lives since we were already in our first semester of sophomore year. We did have some catching up to do, having put our education on the back burner for the situation, but everything found its rhythm again. Josh and Ashley relationship was taking off. I had landed a 2-week internship with a prominent tech company working with the analyst division. Aunt Joan helped me trade in my car for a Toyota Corolla since it was more fuel efficient. She also put the title in my name so I can have something that I owned. Everything was going good, better than what it has been. The next couple months was a mix of work, school, and my internship. I had to leave my library job, but was told I could return anytime I want. Ashley and I hung out very little alone. Most time we hung out with Josh. It was fine. I was happy for them, so I did my best to stay out their way. She ended up moving in with him, which I thought was a little too fast, but I still helped. The thing that broke this peace wasn't even a person but the coronavirus, which came out of nowhere. One moment everything was normal, and the next the world is sent into chaos.